You know, folks, MAGA has absolutely no self-awareness whatsoever. And we've always known this, but over the last week, they have went out of their way to show it more than ever. And it's been so cringe to sit back and watch. I can't believe that they will say these things with a straight face and they think that we're that stupid. Now, I know over at Fox News, they think their audience is definitely that stupid, but how do they sit there? You would have to be completely soulless to sit there and say this stuff that I'm about to play to you in this clip about Newsom trolling after all the years that we've sat back and watched Trump troll on social media. Decoding Fox News over on X put together this clip of Fox News reacting to Newsom's trolling. And again, I'm sure they had a meeting and said, okay, how are we going to spin this? But imagine how soulless you would have to be to go out there and insult your audience's intelligence, which their audience has no intelligence, but you get my point. How could you be so soulless that you would go out there and say these things to your audience?
Gavin Newsom, why am I giving him advice? You have to stop it with the Twitter thing. I don't know where his wife is. If I were his wife, I would say, "What? You are making a fool of yourself. Stop it."
The governor of California, who's currently on a tweet and podcast binge, intent on seemingly running for president.
Newsom and Kamala Harris haven't said squat. And if they want to lead this country, they have to say something besides calling Dana a ding-dong. Gavin Newsom thinks he's clever by having his staffers do his dirty work, crank out knockoff Trump-style all-caps rants and memes.
Is that if you're doing this and it's not authentic and you're trying to do somebody else who you say is Hitler and you think that we don't get the joke? Oh, no, we get the joke. It's just not funny.
Gavin aping Trump's tweets. It reminds me of a child, putting on his dad's clothes when he's not home. It's like, look, I'm an accountant. I'm accounting.
Stop Governor Gavin Newsom from deciding to continue his trying to cosplay as Donald Trump by getting on Twitter and talking a big game, talking smack.
Gavin Newsom on social media going after Donald Trump, having his aides do all these tweets back and forth.
He's spending all this time being cheeky on social media. Why is he spending all this time, trying to be fresh with President Trump?
Newsom's given you a nickname, which I don't even understand, called Just Dance Vance. So I guess, what's your favorite dance? What's your favorite dance music? I mean, it's the dumbest nickname.
The idea that Gavin Newsom is somehow going to mimic Donald Trump's style.
Man, Fox News is going out of their way to spin this one, and their audience is too stupid to see the irony. They don't realize that if you took out Gavin Newsom's name and replaced it to Trump, that it would absolutely fit. They don't realize that that's the entire point that Gavin Newsom is trying to make. Gavin Newsom understands that this is ridiculous. We understand that it's ridiculous. What he's doing here is holding up a mirror and saying, look there, look at how stupid you all look. Donald Trump, we can't have Christmas, we can't have Easter, we can't have Veterans Day or Memorial Day, that he don't come out with these big, long-winded, cold-hearted, divisive tweets about the radical left lunatics and crooked Hillary and Barack Hussein Obama. He has to ruin every special day with his rhetoric. And he's trolled us for the last 10 years. Meanwhile, Fox sits back and calls him daddy. They always have to work in a daddy comparison somewhere in there. And when we call them weird and we call them out for who they really are, then they say that we're the ones being divisive. They have absolutely zero self-awareness. Now, also this week, we saw them going off about Cracker Barrel. They've been talking about that one. And they think that Cracker Barrel changing the logo, that's a crisis to them. In their world, that's an absolute crisis. That's the hill they're willing to die on. Anytime that a business tries to progress, anytime a business tries to evolve and leave outdated policies or outdated looks in the dustbin of history, MAGA kicks against that because they're against progress. They'll sit, though, and talk about cancel culture and accuse us of it, but they would absolutely love to tear Cracker Barrel down right now because of this. Just like they wanted to tear down Bud Light, just like they wanted to tear down Carhartt, Starbucks, Target. We can sit here and name them all day. They are the party of cancel culture. They are the party of silencing people. But they've done a really good job over the years of twisting it around and blaming it on us. What they faced was cultural pushback because their ideas were outdated. And companies realized a lot of ideas were outdated and they just wanted to get with the times. And every time they try to do that, MAGA is there to tear them down. So they'll accuse us of cancel culture, but meanwhile they would be perfectly okay with seeing every Cracker Barrel in America shut down. That's how hypocritical they are. And speaking of being hypocrites, for 4 years, all we heard about was Joe Biden's health. Joe Biden's in decline. Who's really running the country behind the scenes? He's not able to run the country. He's not fit to run the country. Meanwhile, Donald Trump goes out with these bruises on his hand and one of the worst makeup jobs that we've ever seen. And they completely sweep it under the rug. And take a look at this clip of Trump clearly trying to hide his hand, and tell me, what would they have said if this had been Joe Biden?
It'll be fantastic. You see the way this is looking? Look, nice. I can't tell you how much that gold costs, a lot of money. There's nothing like gold and there's nothing like solid gold, but this beautiful office needed it. It had to be representative. When we took it over, it was dirty, not clean. I immediately changed the chair and had this beautiful desk renovated.
Folks, all I know is if Joe Biden had have had to sit behind the desk because his ankles was that big around and he had those kind of bruises on his hands and was trying to cover them up with a really bad makeup job, all I know is the mainstream media would have talked about that for 6 months. It would have been the main story 24/7 around the clock. That's all they would have talked about. But when it comes to Trump, they'll just continue to sweep it under the rug. And it's so crazy to me that they don't see it, that they just have no self-awareness. If you're going to sit and talk about someone being in decline, someone's health being really bad, and who's really running the show and all that, if that's the hill you're willing to die on, then you can't elect a 79-year-old dude that's got ankles like that and those bruises on his hands and got a vein condition and then try to sit back and act like, oh yeah, everything's fine, he's perfectly okay. In MAGA's world, they will go out of their way to smooth it over, no pun intended on the makeup job, but they will go out of their way to smooth over whatever it is that Donald Trump's doing, and they will go out of their way to criticize anyone who tries to hold him to account or show them how stupid they are. And again, when it comes to the people at Fox News and all these people that works for Newsmax and things like that, those folks get paid to put that spin on it. They have meetings where they sit around and go, okay, Jesse, how are we going to spin this one? They've already got it planned out. It's just like the WWE. They script the show and come out and give it to you, and there you go. But the viewers sitting back watching it, how could you sit and watch that and not feel as though your intelligence was being insulted? You sat back and cheered Trump for over 10 years, sitting back trolling people. You've loved every second of it. And then Gavin Newsom trolls for like a week or so, and you lose your absolute mind. Then you want to talk about, American companies being canceled by the left, but yet you go out of your way to tear down any company that tries to progress. And then all you talked about was Joe Biden's health. And now that Donald Trump is clearly in bad health, it's like, just stay quiet about that one. Nothing to see here. And I'm just waiting for the moment that Donald Trump, I wish he would debate somebody and just crash and burn. I would love to see Trump go, yeah, I'll debate you, and I would love to see him go out there and just draw a complete blank. I'm talking, I'd love to see him just stand there and just freeze up like Mitch McConnell. Just so I could watch Jesse Waters spin it on Fox News that was the greatest debate that anyone ever seen. And just so I could see all the other Jake Tappers of the world just go quiet on that when it's, oh, well, yeah, everybody has an off night once in a while. They're hypocrites with zero self-awareness, and don't ever forget it. But folks, I do want to thank y'all so much for your support here on the channel. It's continuing to grow. We're headed toward 1 million subscribers, and I know we'll get there before the end of the year. That's our goal, and I do believe we'll make it because we're growing really fast, and I truly appreciate it. It doesn't cost anything. If you like this kind of content, be sure and go over and hit that button, help us get to 1 million. I've been doing some traveling here lately, going to some pretty cool places. I've been sharing that over on Patreon if you ever want to come along for the ride, or members only. But in my travels, I've met so many cool people along the way, and got to shake their hands and bumped into people on the street that wanted to come up and talk to me. And those things means a lot. It means a lot when listeners that have listened to me for years meets me and brings me a gift and hands it to me. It's truly special to me, and I'm very grateful for it. And we're just going to continue to sit here and call this stuff out. It gets pretty damn tiresome, but in the end, it's worth it because we're on the right side of history. And I know I say that a lot, but I just want to drive that point home because, I bumped into a dude on the street, just a random guy on the street. Hey, you Tennessee Brando? I said, yeah. And he said, keep doing what you do. We need to keep talking about these things. We need to keep speaking up. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We do. And we're going to keep doing it. And I appreciate y'all so much for your support.